Greetings, my relatives. Welcome to another program, Eagle and Condor. And today, Sunday, December 8, 2024, we indeed have an up-to-date program for you, if you will. Just recently and just in the last several years, we've been talking more and more about the immigration issue, which has certainly risen to the top of national attention and agenda, right up there with climate change, my relatives. That's how big this subject matter is. And so with that, I've invited Fransisco Herrera here in the San Francisco Bay Area, an advocate for immigrant rights and for the DACA peoples. That's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, my relatives, and other millions of others that are undocumented are very vulnerable to some of the actions by new department administrations will be undertaking starting in January. So Fransisco Herrera will talk to us about the recent action rally in support of the DACA peoples there in Sacramento yesterday, December the 3rd. And also I've invited Bruce Gali, a California Indian man, and Bruce Gali, also American Indian Movement California, and along with AIM West and Intertribal Human Rights and Treaty organization based in San Francisco. And Bruce Gali was asked to lead in some words and prayer yesterday at the rally itself. So we'll be talking to Bruce about his views on people that are relatives that are coming from the South when we don't indeed recognize borders, my relatives. And hopefully Laura Rodriguez will be coming on as soon as she's able, my relatives. And she spoke yesterday as well as a DACA representative, if you will. And that's, again, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. And she'll give a particular view of herself, of her personal life experience, and how she is more vulnerable than ever. But before we get started, my relatives, I just want to make a few quick announcements and comments. We saluted the veterans last month in November, and last month was also Native American Month, and of course, many of us attended the sunrise ceremonies, the annual sunrise ceremony that was held at Alcatraz on November the 28th. And this was also to not only honor the warriors, the men and women who took the island, Alcatraz, the rock, years ago from November 1969 to June of 1971. 19 months held the island. And so each year we go there to honor them. And that began in 1975, I believe it was, with Bill Wapapaw and the International Indian Treaty Council, American Indian Movement, and also to acknowledge that the warriors at Alcatraz during that time on the rock also held their unthanksgiving meal and feast. So it's to a continuation of that thread of history, my relatives. And let's see, also the photo and poster exhibit that was hosted by the AIM West and also Barrios Unidos down in Santa Cruz, an exhibit of 40 pictures and posters of campaigns that the American Indian Movement has been involved in since its inception in July 1968, as much as we could bring to the present. But central to that exhibit that started with a reception on November 29, and it'll run there at Barrios Unidos through December 29, is a 12-foot statue of Leonard Peltier, political prisoner in the United States. It was sculpted by international renowned Rigo 23, my relatives, and it's built in three-dimensional, taken from a self-portrait by Leonard Peltier himself, sitting in a cell in a 6x9 by 12. And those are the dimensions, indeed, of this statue that was sculpted by Rigo 23. And that's also at Barrios Unidos in Santa Cruz, 1817 SoCal Avenue, there in Santa Cruz, my relatives. So do try to make that and get an update on the history of the American Indian movement. And the theme of this exhibit is "Aim is a Direction." And that's a quotation, my relatives. Aim is a direction. And so said by the American Indian movement spiritual leader who passed on at an early age, in his early 50s, my relatives. And that is Philip Deere of Oklahoma, of the Muskogee Creek peoples. He left a legacy. He traveled international with the American Indian movement and the International Indian Treaty Council, here nationally and internationally at Geneva, Switzerland. In fact, he was among those that were there in 1977 in Geneva, Switzerland, that laid the course to the evolution of the adoption of the Declaration on the Rights of the World's Indigenous Peoples, adopted by the General Assembly of the UN in September of 2007. So that's the theme that includes photos in Geneva, Switzerland, as well, of many of these delegates over the years that set the course and the vision that was laid out by American Indian movement, it being a spiritual movement. So another important announcement I just wanted to quickly make, and we got a little time for this, but on January 25, Congress of the People, that will be here in San Francisco. It's a free entry at the Mission High School, my relatives. That's on January 25 and 26, Saturday and Sunday at 3750 18th Street in San Francisco at Mission High School, my relatives. And there'll be discussions on social, economic, and justice. It'll be a musical festival as well. Registration 9 a.m., workshops from 12 to 5, and a concert at 5 p.m. So make your plans for that January 25 in San Francisco in the Mission. It's high time to begin talking on these social issues and what we'll be confronted with. So for more information, my relatives, you can go to area code 415-863-1927. All right, we haven't gotten Laura Hernandez on the program yet. Laura, can we hear you?
Laura. Hi, I'm here.
So we'll get back with you. I made some introductions, and with the time permitted, I made some announcements, community announcements. But I'd like to begin the interview, and I thank you all three for taking the time, and Falcon, our engineer, in putting this program together. So I'll begin with Bruce Gali, if I may. And Bruce, if you could introduce yourself, and you were the person that was asked to lead in the opening part of yesterday's rally there in Sacramento in the for the support for the DACA peoples. Can you introduce yourself and give us a little background and the significance of the words that you expressed to the people and in prayer? Hope.
Doc Molimo. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, KPFA, for letting me be a part of this interview like that. Honored and blessed. I'd like to just say a quote right now is that before, they said, kill the Indian and save the man. This was a product of colonization, like that, and genocide of our people. The laws, the hunting, the fishing, and we were forced. Whoever survived, we were forced as farmers, like that. And I come from Pitt River, northern California, northeastern boundaries of California. Our ancestral areas, 3.4 million, 4 million acres of tribal ancestral lands. I'm also a Filipino and Indian, indigenous, like that. My father was a Filipino. My mom was Pitt River, like that. And the way they met was in the strawberry patches, like that. And through them, between the both of them, they planted a seed of 6 sons, like that. And my mom had passed, went to the spirit world, and by the time we were 14, 16 years old, we all working in the fields to buy our clothes, like that, because my dad didn't really know that much English and so on, like that. So he was a field worker, United Farm Workers.
I see.
So we end up picking peas, uh, loading pumpkins, cucumbers, melons, tomatoes, apples, cutting asparagus, grapes, like that. And then back in the day, my brother Isidro Gali Jr., like that, he walked with Cesar Chavez, like that, boycotting the grapes on the working conditions, the health and housing, like that, for the United Farm Workers. He marched from Delano in 1968 with Cesar Chavez to Sacramento, and sometime after that, we also did a march from Lombard Street to the Presidio, with about 10,000 people strong. The Condor and the Eagle and the Condor. At one time, like that, out there in DQU, they had 500-mile spiritual runners brought out by Dennis Banks, like that, 1978. And there was my one friend here that just went to the spirit world, Norman, aka Wounded Knee, Hunter, DeCampo, and his brothers also were runners, like that. And he was a captain, and my brother Aceto, he ran from DQU, with Paul O'Saber, Jimmy and Mike Jackson, from Intertribal Friendship House, and a bunch of other people. There was quite a few, there was quite a few teams. I think there was probably about six teams involved, and they ran down to La Paz in memory of Cesar Chavez, United Farm Workers. And then going forward like that, um, 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 our friend Wounded, like that. We traveled probably maybe 12 years together and that stuff. And my niece Morningstar asked us to go down to Poplar, California, and Wounded. So we went down there, and Wounded did the opening prayer down there, like that. And then also back in December the 25th, 2020, we were also Wounded couldn't make it at that time, but we were down there protesting this GEO Adelando ice processing center, and we brought the staff, American Indian Movement staff, down there and protesting that the children that were locked up, down there getting ready to be deported or what, we don't really know, but how many people they said, I think somewhere between maybe 600 children that was in that ICE detention center. So around August the 3rd, like that, through August the 26th of 2022, like that, we walked from Delano to Sacramento under Newsom signing this Assembly Bill 2183 for the workers' rights to vote with or without suppression, intimidation, or retaliation. We went down there as American Indian Movement supporters in solidarity with for the Condor and the Eagle. And then January the 20th of 24, we also did a caravan in San Diego back to Sacramento, like that, for the pathway to citizenship. That citizenship was back in 1986, the registration bill HR 1511, and also S 2606. December the 2nd, Monday at 2024, a mass deportation protest with United Farm Workers down with ICE, and we're all humans. I have some notes down here, that are written down,
Sure.
like that, and so also, also what I'd like to say, now that I was honored and blessed to be asked, to do an opening prayer yesterday, in Sacramento, and it was good, to see all the people, and I acknowledge that it's the Condor and the Eagle, or the Eagle and the Condor, like that. We're all humans, and I ask the people to acknowledge and bring their children, like that, so they understand the United Farm Workers, the American Indian Movement, like that, because they'll be our future leaders, our representatives. So again, I want to give acknowledgement to KPFA, McGill, the United Farm Workers, the American Indian Movement, also Sochi, that was there, and then also Flora, that's that's also working with DACA, the Dreamers, like that, and another thing I'd like to say is that from my friend, like that, he always said, what are they going to do when they come for you? And he says, never give up, never give up. That was my friend, Wounded Knee. Aho.
Oh, Bruce Gali, I want to thank you very much, and for sharing your background, personal as it is, but qualifying yourself, certainly in the many campaigns, the long history, your family involvement, and the connection there with the walk in Sacramento, December 2nd, as we're talking about.
Like I say, acknowledgement, for your organization, like that, KPFA, like that, to be putting the word out, because we are in solidarity, and we're all one. It's not about me, myself, and I. It's about us, all of us. And Wounded as my mentor, he always said that, is that we love our people, all our people, and we're all humans. And the government needs to know this, like that we're never going to give up. All right, Tony.
Oh, no, thank you very much. Wounded Knee Del Campo, as you mentioned, passed away at 82 years old, November the 7th, I believe it was, just last month, my Rob says. But certainly, Bruce Gali, your words and Your activism speaks for itself, and the involvement of your family, in the farm fields, in the farm worker community, and to the present, all across the country, your presence is known, and your spirit being strong. And Francisco Gali, Hernandez Herrera, are you there? I don't see you on the screen. I hope you're there. Can you hear me? Oh, there you are, Francisco.
I'm right here.
Francisco Herrera, thank you very much. And please share with us your views. You're well known here in the Bay Area on radio, KPFA, and other medium. And I'm very happy to invite you to Eagle and Condor, and for our viewers to know you're a troubadour of sorts. You're a singer of songs, a storyteller, and you certainly were there at the rally in Sacramento for giving DACA people support. And your songs are very high-spirited in helping lead the way. Francisco Herrera, would you please introduce yourself and share with us about the rally in Sacramento? And then we'll talk a little bit of background about DACA itself and how many people are affected.
For sure. And I'm really happy that our sister Laura Hernandez is here. I'd like to hear from her
Yes.
if you want. Caminando, caminando, vamos caminando hacia el sol. Caminando, caminando, vamos caminando hacia la libertad. Just wanna offer Thanksgiving to Bruce for a fabulous opening prayer that you did there with us, Bruce, bringing together the Eagle and Condor. My children bring together Eagle and the Condor. They're Ecuadoriano Mexicano. So they're from Ecuador and from Aslan. So I love that concept of our kids bringing together that the Eagle and the Condor. But
the prophecy.
I just want to thank you, Simon. Thank you, Tony, for this. Thank you, Laura, for being here with us. And we're going to hear from you right now. Very prophetic words that Laura had to share with us, her own experience, and very, very powerful. Want to make the way for her. And you opened it up beautifully, Bruce, with bringing us together as to what it's all about, because really this is about the long haul. It's not about immediate big victories. I think it's wrong to still have that military mentality that somehow it all depends on a big military march into the capital city and taking over and killing everyone. I mean, that's basically what we're seeing Israel do right now with Palestinians, what we've seen Europeans do here. Well, Israel's basically taking the blueprint from the U.S., right? And so did South Africa with their apartheid. And they all took the blueprint from the U.S., from the European American
colonial design, by colonial design.
Am I still with you?
Yes, yes, you are.
What's the last? Okay. Anyway, so it was beautiful to bring it to and the opening of Spirit, Bruce. That was really wonderful, and really getting us focused that this is the long haul. That is really about spirit, about our spirits together, about our people together, heart to heart, mind to mind, and really keeping open the possibilities for solidarity, working together, compassion. I always like to say, they try to sell us as if compassion is some kind of a thing, like a weak thing. It's not realistic. But my experience in life has been that compassion is strong, is effective, is intelligent. Compassion, when you have compassion, when you're focusing on the well-being of the whole village, of the whole town, of the community, then you have to be smart. You have to be intelligent and really strategic of how you do work so that everyone is involved and so that everyone participates and also everyone receives, right? Which is the famous illness that exists in the U.S. where they believe in this concept of private property of his mine, and the more I get, the better. And so we're in this long haul walk in learning to concepts of community and returning to practice of charity. And we've had many times when it looked more positive than others. And we've had some terrible looking times as it's looking in Palestine. Mexico right now is a complete war happening, but nobody talks about it because it'll hurt tourism and in the safe areas where tourists can go, right? Haiti, which is in complete disarray after the coup of 2004. And so there's parts of our planet that are in real serious super violence, and then we have other parts like now where the Trump administration has been able to connive people into thinking that somehow they're gonna do anything, but in the process they're bringing a lot of threats, a lot of violence. Already you're seeing signs of crazy people that think they have the permission to be misogynistic. Think they have permission to be racist. Think they have the permission to be anti-immigrant, or And so we're facing a difficult time in terms of violence and repression, but we're facing a historical time in terms of young people getting organized, and I'm so happy we have Laura Hernandez here with us. We have a miraculous time. We've been able to survive 532 years of genocide in this continent, and we see it growing. The Mapuches in Argentina and Chile, all our nations here in the northern part of the hemisphere, and Mexico, it's just growing, and so I'm very excited about that part of it. And in terms of what it looks like here in the migration, I wanted to paint the big picture, because in terms of what it looks like here in the migration, well, yes, we're going to have some terrible times of threats against the DACA students who've been getting organized, against families, TPS holders, temporary protected status holders, folks who've been here because we burnt their house down in Latin America. Are now going to be facing some serious times, and it's the call for solidarity, as the Tohono O'odham have done, where in Arizona, where they said, you can be part of our community. We give you citizenship. For the Yaqui people and other folks are saying, ¿Sabes qué? You can be part of our community here. And so for me, the challenge is going to be, how do we practice solidarity? Laura's going to give us a wonderful example of the steadfastness of her life and other young people who faced incarceration, that capitalistic project called mass incarceration, right? where they're making money by having people jailed. And so
Francisco, before we do move on to Laura Hernandez, I wanted to ask you, how many people are impacted by the DACA? What's the DACA population, and what's the overall undocumented people, documented, undocumented, who are threatened with potential Gestapo type tactics and incarceration and creation of these further buildup of private prisons to warehouse them until they're deported. Describe to us the threat a little bit more, please.
The lowest number I've heard, Tony, is between 400,000 and 500,000 people, and with students that have a deferred action, which is a gigantic. But in terms of folks who are pre-documented, I say pre-documented because someday they're going to have the papers that are under threat. You're talking about close to 8 to 12, between 8 and 12 million people. If Biden had kept his promise 4 years ago, I think he would have won, because he would have had millions of people who were residents and others, few million who were citizens who would have voted for the guy, but citizens, I mean, would have voted, but they ignored us. They completely ignored us and played with our community, and 11 million people didn't vote for him. Trump got 73 million votes, exactly the same that he got 4 years ago. It was 11 million people that voted for him previously that didn't vote for Kamala Harris this time.
Yeah.
So it's really people just decided to not buy the lies of the Democrats anymore. But anyway, so in terms of people, Tony, we're talking about millions of people who are going to be affected. And
was it President Ronald Reagan who exercised his office to provide citizenship to millions of people as well?
that was after 13 years of struggle between 1973 and 1986 that we were working for a general amnesty, ¿verdad? For people who've been here for a long time, who prove themselves to be productive citizenry, to be allowed. And we were looking for a large general amnesty for 13 years. And finally, we got what ended up being the crumbs when Ronald Reagan administration finally gave in to the pressures of community getting organized. And yeah, that was 1986, what ended up being called the amnesty.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to apply similar pressure, during this period or the next, as soon as possible. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct.
And
that's
you were
correct.
going to introduce Laura Hernandez as well.
Thank
please.
you very much. No, that's correct, Tony. I'm an advocate for, you know what? Who cares who's up there? We need to push, and we need to find ways to make our voice heard. And I think the courts are going to be very busy right now, Tony, because there's going to be a lot of action. In the 1954, when they had the massive deportation of over 1 million people, including Gavilan's father, as we've heard that tragic story, there was very few consensus in supporting our people, but everyone was afraid or frozen. And now you've got millions of people who are attentive to this issue, and I think I'm hoping that we're going to be able to come together, but we're facing serious odds with them threatening to use the military. But I think to give us an example of surviving prison and surviving incarceration and still keeping hope alive, we have with us Laura Hernandez, who I'm very proud to introduce and to have her with us. Welcome, Laura. Oh,
Laura Hernandez, are you there? Please, there you go.
Yes, I'm here.
Please.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this honor to be among you all today. It is truly an honor for me to be among you all today and to be able to share a little bit of my story and of the struggle that we face. I want to start by thanking Bruce for opening us up in prayer yesterday at the rally. Thank you, Francisco, for introducing me to Tony. I'm going to just share a little bit about my background so you know who I am and where I come from. So my people are the Kumeyaay people. I was born in Tecate, Baja California, and I was brought here to Orange County when I was 3 months old. My parents brought me here. They migrated here. My dad also is Kumeyaay. He was born in Tecate. My mom is from Colima, Tecomán. And, we were raised here my entire life. And, the system, the anti-Black, anti-people of color system has always been in place in the United States. And I got caught up in in that system at a very young age. I was 12 years old, and the color of my skin has too much melanin. And so I was caught up in the system at a very young age. I was 12 years old when I first went to juvenile hall. And I did become a legal permanent resident when I was very young. And so, to be honest with you, I didn't even know that I wasn't a U.S. citizen until I was a teenager. When we went one time to visit my grandma, and my parents forgot my green card, and I had to stay back and wait for them, and I couldn't understand why. And so that's when I learned about immigration and learned that I was not a citizen and that I was different than other people. And when I was a young kid, I was involved in sports, and I did a lot of competitions. I won a lot of awards, and every time I walked up on a stage to receive an award, nobody ever asked me where I was born. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter where I was born, as long as I was getting awards and shiny medals. My heritage didn't matter. Nothing mattered. And so as I grew older and became part of the carceral system, once you become part of that system, it's very difficult to exit. There is no pathway to get out, right? You get put on probation, and any little thing can violate you and send you back to jail. Mass incarceration is an extension of anti-Blackness in the United States. Black and brown people have forever been, discriminated against. We are the most overrepresented. Well, Black people are the most overrepresented in our carceral system, in immigration detention, and Native American people as well. It's insane what we do to the people that own this land. And I have been out of prison. I was sentenced to a life sentence when I was 21 years old, and I was sentenced to 27 to life with 2 life sentences. And I got out after 15 years, about 4 years ago. And when I got out, when I was about to get out, I received a notice from immigration that they wanted to talk to me. And because of my convictions, I am what they call mandatory detention and mandatory deportation. And so really right now I'm flying under the radar. If I get pulled over, if I come in contact with ICE or CBP, they are mandated to detain me and deport me. But when I got out, one of the organizations that supported me was the Orange County Rapid Response Network, and I soon became their coordinator. And then after coordinating with them for a couple of years, now I'm the executive director of a national nonprofit called Freedom for Immigrants. And I do amazing work with them. And, my story, I am not the exception. There's so much rhetoric around the good versus the bad immigrant. The immigrant that comes here and is either a recipient of DACA or who has never been in touch with the law. There's this rhetoric that pits us against each other that says, you're bad because you've been incarcerated, and I'm good and I deserve to be here, but you don't deserve to be here. And that's the rhetoric that I fight against every single day, because we're all products of this system. We're all products of colonialism. I went on a pilgrimage not long ago with the Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity. They do a pilgrimage every year. We go to every single detention center in California on a bus, and I've been to every single one. And every time I go, we go to the border, and on the way back, we have to go through inspection points. And this last year, this is my 3rd year going. This last year, every year I go, I have to make arrangements for myself to come back up, because I don't want to be on the bus, because I fear being pulled over and, being asked for my papers and all of that. And so I always have to make arrangements. And this year, it hit me really hard that there I was on Kumeyaay land, my ancestors' land, and that I was having to sneak around and ask other people permission to enter my land. And it hit me so hard. It made me angry. It made me Um, but it made me tie up my bootstraps, and it made me just go harder and advocate harder and continue to do this work, because this work is tiresome. When I deal with people every day who are in danger of being separated from their families simply because of their geographic place of birth, and remembering how I felt to be on my own ancestors' land, asking for permission to enter, people who are foreigners here, created a lot of anxiety and a lot of anger in my heart, but a good anger, anger that fuels my spirit, that lit the fire, and continue to allow me the space and the strength to keep going, right? And so, a lot of times people ask what it's like to be an immigrant here with a criminal background, and I always say it's the same. I always answer the same way. It's indescribable. Being an immigrant here, or being considered an immigrant here, is hard enough as it is, and then to add another label on top of that, the label of criminal, the label of someone who is disposable, the label of someone who is unwanted here. It's really hard. It's really hard to watch the nation vote against your interests, to watch people rise up in arms against you. Someone that is out here just trying to create a better life for my family, for my community members, for my comrades, for my brothers and sisters. That's all we're trying to do. And I tell people, I've done more in this past year in terms of community service than a lot of these people have done in their entire life. And yet, and I know more history of this nation than some of these white Americans, right? And yet I am the one that is disposable. I am the one that doesn't belong here. Even though we have racism, even though we have violence, even though we have all of these other things to fight against, and we are the peacekeepers, and we are the ones that are trying to bring solidarity and that are standing for it, yet we are the first ones on the list to be removed. And it's that we need to remember, to stand together. I appreciate so much the American Indian community coming together and standing together with us, the Black community to come together and stand together with us, the Chinese community. All of our communities need to stand together, because at the end of the day, we are all we have. Because it feels like they are pushing us into these corners, as they've always done since the beginning of the colonialism, since the beginning of gentrification. It's always been done the same way, right? Isolate and then expel. And we cannot allow that to happen. We need to remind them that we are one, that we all stand together. I love the concept of the eagle and the condor. I stand alongside it. We'll stand in solidarity with it. I believe truly that this is the way to freedom for all of us, is standing together. As I embark on my own personal journey of transformation and becoming a different person, right? I have a petition to the governor's office asking for my pardon. It is a tool that the governor can use to save me from deportation, and yet he chooses not to do it. We don't understand why, but we won't give up. Like Bruce said, that Wounded had taught him, that we won't give up. We're here and we're not leaving. There's a saying, right? One of the chants that we say in some of our marches is, aquí estamos y no nos vamos, right? We are here and we're not going anywhere. And so people have to live with that, and we will continue to fight. We will continue to strive. We will continue to stand together with our comrades and continue to love each other, because at the end of the day, that is the bottom line, is loving each other enough to respect where we come from and to respect where we are. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Laura Hernandez, and for sharing your particular experience. And we're all inspired, by your words and your posturing and carrying this forward. And can you give us a website to your organization that you helped found, Laura Hernandez, a website for people who want more information or how they can also help you as well? Do you have a website?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're at freedomforimmigrants.org, and we have social media pages. All of our handles are at Migrant Freedom. And I also have a change.org petition that I can share if anyone would like to sign it to ask the governor to pardon me. I can share that link with you in a bit, Tony.
All right, Laura Hernandez, thank you. And hopefully we'll get back with you as a follow-up as we move forward on this. And Francisco, back to you before we close, and I hope that we're able to suggest and screen a up-to-date current video that explains DACA a bit more to our viewers and as a follow-up to this discussion. But Francisco Herrera, I wanted to ask you a little bit more on the follow-up to this bill and pathways, for citizenship for the remainder of the undocumented peoples, and that is a bill introduced by Senator Alex Padilla and co-authored by several progressive people. I don't know how far it'll get, but can you explain to us the bill itself? It's somewhat a general bill to open up discussions from the Immigration Act itself that from 1929, and there's a lot of work, and from 72 forward. Can you describe a little bit more and how people can help?
Yeah, there's what it is. In 1929, there was a bill that's already law, but it's in a dormant state, and it's been I think it was 73 when it was reactivated, and it's back in dormant state. But it would basically allow 8 million people who've been here over 7 years. If you've been here over a certain amount of years, that will allow people to automatically move into residency, and that begins the process of citizenship. And a couple, 2-3 years later, and that's in process. It's already a law. So it's already there. You don't have to do all the whole process. And what we need right now is people to be calling their congressperson. As we know, back in the Amistad story, I don't know if people know the Amistad story, where former people who had been enslaved said, "We came in this. We want to go back to Africa," and the judge ruled on their favor. Was a kidnapper. I don't call them slave owners; they were kidnappers. That's what they were. He ruled because of the power of popular pressure. So right now, this is one of the pieces of this registry law where people can make a difference in calling their legislators to push for this law be reactivated, and it would automatically give people who are in the process of their documentation to able to be citizens, start the citizenship process by becoming residents. And you're talking about close to 8 million people that would be affected by this registry bill.
Uh-huh. And thank you for...
I think, Tony, just to add, I think, for example, one of the organizations that organized Monday's rally is the Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity.
Okay.
And for the website is the letter I, the letter M, the number 4, human integrity. I am for human integrity. is the website Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity. You also have the National Day Labor Organizing Network, and that's N as in National, D as in Day, L as in Labor, O Organizing Network, NDLON.org is also another website people can check in, and the Northern California Coalition for the Registry Bill as well. That are working. Bruce has been very involved in that with Miguel Trujillo and all the folks in San Jose as well. Are folks that are working on this bill, and it's the simplest thing. People need to call their congressperson and say they support this bill to allow people to become residents, and then because they've been here enough years as the law provides.
And thank you very much, Francisco, for that information, particularly on the Senate Bill 2606 and calling the Congress people representatives to that. And is there there's so much activity and actions going on across the country, such as the rally in Sacramento, for DACA support and like that, all across the country. And is there a designated date next year where all across the country it'll be like a day without laborers, or like a day without Mexicans in the workforce, kind of like a shutdown, or a million man woman march in different places? Is there because it seems like it's a good time to be heading in that way, one major loud voice, and during the administration that we're coming into, that aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Can you elaborate, Francisco, or share any news that you have on that?
I don't have a date yet, Tony, that for that. Other folks might have some information on that. I don't have it. But I think right now what is most important for our listeners in this program is really to identify who is your congressperson, what is their phone number, and most of those offices you can just leave a message. It's that simple of saying, Congressperson, I want you to support the enactment of Bill 2606, which will reactivate the registry of 1929. My name is Francisco Herrera. I live in Oakland, California, and you're my congressperson, period. And then hang up. Or if you get an aide, you talk with them on the phone. And it's really that simple to make that phone call. And it really does have an impact of creating the mobilization for those votes in Congress.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Bruce Gali, California Indian man and the American Indian movement, for your thoughts and your words and sharing the history of your people's involvement in the community and with UFW, and for these very people that we are talking about. Francisco Herrera, for your advice, consultation, and the music that you play in our community. And Laura Hernandez, we'll be hearing more of Laura, high-spirited and on point with putting her feelings to work. My relatives, we're coming close to that hour now with Eagle and Condor, but I just wanted to mention that we do have some footage of the rally in Sacramento, the DACA rally, and maybe 40 minutes of that. We just might play that in the background as we're talking here, if not a video for Not My Relatives, but we'll try and get you an up-to-date video that can describe and explain the experiences of undocumented people and the vulnerability that they're being subjected to. But my relatives, in closing, I want to say, stay tuned to Eagle and Condor and share it with your friends. You can listen, watch it live streaming at aim-west.org or on the regular public access channel 29 in San Francisco at sfc.tv. That's Sundays at 4 o'clock. And all our shows, and my engineer, Falcon Molina, all our shows we archive at the website at aim-west.org, an intertribal human rights and treaty rights organization based in San Francisco. My relatives, Leonard Peltier, still in prison. I don't want to go by without mentioning once again, you probably know the phone number by now to call the president, Joe Biden, at the White House, and that's at area code 202-456-1111, and leave a message, an executive clemency for Leonard to come home now, or a compassionate release, or a clemency altogether, my relatives. But this is an important moment for President Joe Biden. He's under a lot of criticism and for, exonerating his son, pardoning his son, while others say that nobody is beyond the law. But he really exceeded himself, but that's his son. And think of Leonard Peltier as the son of this land and representative of this hemisphere, the political prisoner, that he must come home. And so my relatives, call the White House and leave that message. All right, that's it, my relatives. We'll see you once again on the Eagle and Condor.
Gracias, Tony.
And Laura Hernandez in particular. December 2nd, 2024, Sacramento, California, here for a DACA rally to help get the word out to get over 800,000 DACA young people who have grown to adults as well to stay in the country. Let's tune in here. Sacramento.
So people are struggling right now, and Trump is exploiting freedom over economic insecurity by scapegoating our government and but greedy corporations, not people seeking revenue and seeking the U.S. responsible for creating the cost of living for everyone in our country. So boom to that. Here in California, we have some of our important plans that help us we need to do more. We need to do more. Some of the first Californian Trump may target include people, including permanent residents who have served their time for conviction many decades ago and are a vital part of our community. These community members are beloved parents, mentors, caretakers, neighbors, and community leaders. So under current practices in our state, people who serve their time and earn release from prison or jail can still be double punished by being transferred to ICE. So this is not right. This is not justice. Just like I myself am also a legal permanent resident and have made mistakes when I was young. After I served my time and transformed my life around, I was transferred over to ICE. And many others of my peers that also are in the same predicament are under the same threat as well. So we need to do more to protect all of our immigrants community. So I want to invite one of our family members that have been indirectly impacted. And so I want to ask Melissa, please come up and share her testimony. Please give it up for Melissa.
Hi everyone. Before I start, I would like to invite all of the families who have family portraits to come up to the front. All of those who have risk of deportation that have pictures, if you guys can please come up to the front.
Hola a todos, si les podemos pedir a todos quienes tengan retratos de sus familiares que hayan sido detenidos o deportados, que por favor los traigan aquí al frente.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start it. Hello everyone, my name is Jose Aguilar and it is an honor to be here with all of you.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Ulisa Aguilar y es un verdadero honor estar aquí con todos ustedes.
If you had told my 11-year-old self that I would be speaking here today at a march for immigrant rights under attack by Donald Trump's planned policies, I wouldn't have believed you.
Si le hubieras dicho a mi yo de 11 años que hoy hablaría en una marcha para los derechos de los inmigrantes, atacada por las políticas planeadas por Donald Trump, no te habría creído.
For one, I would have never imagined Trump would still be running for president and winning. He was already in office when I was at the age. For context, I'm 18 now.
Por un lado, nunca hubiera imaginado que Trump seguiría postulándose para presidente y haber ganado. Ya estaba él a cargo cuando yo tenía esa edad. Para contextualizar, ahora tengo 18 años.
What would have shocked me most, though, is that even today, I'm still fighting for the same things I fought for when my dad was detained by ICE. 7 years later, families are still being torn apart, just as mine was.
Lo que más me habría sorprendido es que incluso hoy sigo luchando por las mismas causas por las que luché cuando ICE detuvo a mi padre. 7 años después, las familias siguen destrozadas como fue la mía.
Children are still separated from their parents, and the policies that should protect us are fueled by hatred and racism.
Los niños todavía están separados de sus padres y las políticas que deberían protegernos están alimentadas por el odio y el racismo.
But those are not the values that we stand for. We fight for dignity and justice. We believe in the power of community and the strength of our voices.
Pero eso no son los valores que defendemos. Luchamos por la dignidad y la justicia. Creemos en el poder de la comunidad y la fuerza de nuestras voces.
That's why we as a community must listen to and care for the youth and families affected by unjust immigration practices like ICE transfers and deportations.
Es por eso que nosotros como comunidad debemos escuchar y cuidar a los jóvenes y a las familias afectadas por prácticas de inmigración injustas como las transferencias y deportaciones de ICE.
As someone who has experienced family separation, I know that when someone is detained or deported, they're not the only ones who suffer. When I was 12, my father was detained and my mother could no longer care for me. I went to live with my aunt, who raised me as her own.
Como alguien que experimentó una separación familiar, sé que cuando alguien es detenido o deportado, no es el único que sufre. Cuando tenía 12 años, detuvieron a mi padre y a mi madre, y mi madre ya no podía cuidar de mí. Me fui a vivir con mi tía, quien me crió como si fuera suya.
I'm grateful for her, but I can't help think of the children who don't have this option. Those placed in foster care, broken homes, or those who lose both parents and never see them again.
Estoy agradecida por ella, pero pienso en los niños que no tuvieron esta opción, aquellos colocados en casas hogares, destrozados, o aquellos o en hogares destrozados, o aquellos que pierden a ambos padres y nunca los vuelven a ver.
I think of the parents too, those who live in fear of losing their children, those who died before they can reunite. I think of those forced to leave the country and the communities they've helped build or are ready to contribute to. California, the home of the most immigrants in our nation, must do more to protect our immigrant communities.
Pienso también en los padres, aquellos que viven con miedo de perder a sus hijos, aquellos que mueren antes de poder reunirse. Pienso en aquellos que se vieron obligados a abandonar el país y las comunidades que han ayudado a construir o en las que están dispuestos a construir. California, el hogar de la mayor cantidad de inmigrantes en nuestra nación, debe hacer más para proteger a nuestras comunidades de inmigrantes.
While government policies may be regressing, our voices are progressing. That's why we are here today calling on Governor Newsom and the California legislature to use every tool available to protect us.
Si bien las políticas gubernamentales pueden estar retrocediendo, Nuestras voces están progresando. Es por eso que estamos aquí hoy, pidiendo al gobernador Gavin Newsom y a la legislatura de California que utilicen todas las herramientas disponibles para protegernos.
Governor Newsom, we ask you to, 1, pardon our community members who have served their time so they are not double punished and deported. Pardon is an act of love.
Gobernador Newsom, le pedimos que 1, perdone a los miembros de nuestra comunidad que han cumplido con su condena para que no sean doblemente castigados y deportados. El perdón es un acto de amor.
2, use our resources to invest in our communities, not in ICE transfers and deportations. Not 1 cent for mass deportation.
2, use nuestros recursos para invertir en nuestras comunidades, no en transferencias y deportaciones de ICE. Ni un centavo más para deportaciones masivas.
And the last one, ensure that California does not sell or lease any land or facilities that can be used for mass detention. Dignity, not detention.
Y la última, asegurar que California no venda ni arriende ningún terreno o instalación que pueda usarse para detenciones masivas. Dignidad, no detención.
¡Sí, señor!
When one child suffers, we all suffer.
Cuando un niño sufre, todos sufrimos.
When one family suffers, we all suffer.
Cuando una familia sufre, todos sufrimos.
When one immigrant suffers, we all suffer.
Cuando un inmigrante sufre, todos sufrimos.
Governor Newsom, lead with compassion. The youth and families are counting on you.
Gobernador Newsom, lidere con compasión. Los jóvenes y las familias cuentan con usted.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Gracias y que Dios los bendiga.
Tabito.
We want to invite up our faith leaders. Queremos invitar a nuestros líderes de fe para que nos guíen en una oración, so they can lead us in prayer. Give it up one more time for Julissa. How are you feeling out there? ¿Cómo se sienten allá afuera?
¿De que les enseño mi cara?
Sí se puede.
Como siempre, bien mi bandera.
We would like to invite all the clergy to come, bring in the families, all the clergy people, todo lo que sean líderes de la iglesia, deacons, everybody please come, all the clergy please come forward and stand with the family.
Yeah, we have a lot of faith communities here from all out here with us today. So great to see community being together.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Es maravilloso verles aquí en comunidad a todos juntos. Gracias por estar aquí.
My name is Maria. I'm a Filipina immigrant survivor. I work in reentry with Asian Prisoners Support Committee.
Mi nombre es María, filipina sobreviviente inmigrante. Trabajo en el Comité de Apoyo de Reincorporación de Prisioneros Asiáticos.
In 2019, Governor Newsom granted my parole after serving my time. Instead of my family welcoming me home, I was greeted by a private contractor, a government employment officer, a GO officer, with hand and foot shackles.
En 2019, el gobernador Newsom me concedió la libertad condicional después de cumplir mi condena. En lugar de que mi familia me diera la bienvenida en casa, me recibió un contratista privado, un agente del empleo, con grilletes en las manos y en los pies.
So I spent 11 grueling months in Adelanto ICE detention facility, not knowing whether I would get to come home and see my family.
Pasé 11 meses agotadores en el centro de detención de ICE en Adelanto, sin saber si podría volver a casa o a ver a mi familia.
It's been 4 years since ICE, and yet that familiar feeling of anxiety, fear, and anguish came over me as if it was just yesterday when I turned on the TV and saw the results of the elections. I grabbed my husband's hand and he just held me. I didn't sleep that night. And then the following morning, I got a call from my brother who hesitated to ask how I was doing.
Han pasado 4 años desde que ICE me detuvo y sin embargo, esa sensación familiar de ansiedad, miedo y angustia me invadió como si fuera ayer. Cuando encendí la televisión y vi los resultados de las elecciones, agarré la mano de mi marido y él me abrazó. No dormí esa noche. A la mañana siguiente, recibí una llamada de mi hermano que dudó en preguntarme cómo estaba.
During Trump's first term, raids were happening all over Oakland. And one thing my granny, mi abuelita, reassured me was that no one was going to take me and that she would do whatever it took to keep me safe. Every day she left home from work with worry and anxiety, unsure if I would be home when she got home. And when I didn't answer my phone, she was in turmoil. She would be reliving the nightmare again because Trump is in office.
Durante el primer mandato de Trump, se produjeron redadas por todo Oakland. Y una cosa que mi abuelita me aseguró fue que nadie me iba a llevar y que haría lo que fuera necesario para mantenerme a salvo. Ella salía de la casa todos los días para ir a trabajar, preocupada y ansiosa, sin saber si yo estaría en casa cuando ella regresara. Y cuando yo no respondía a mi teléfono, ella se ponía muy nerviosa. Volvería a vivir la pesadilla porque Trump está en el cargo.
I know I'm not the only one going through this, and my family is not alone who are living in fear. I believe in God, and I know that He will make a way. There is really nothing anyone can say to me and my family, the sense of security and peace we need.
Sé que no soy la única que está pasando por esto, y mi familia no está sola viviendo con miedo. Creo en Dios y sé que Él abrirá un camino. Realmente no hay nada que nadie pueda decir para darme a mí y a mi familia la sensación de seguridad y paz que necesitamos.
But I know someone who can stop Trump from separating me and other immigrants at risk from our families.
Pero conozco a alguien que puede impedir que Trump me separe a mí y a otros inmigrantes en riesgo de nuestras familias.
Do you know who he is?
¿Saben quién es?
Yeah, that's where you step in, Governor Newsom. You have absolute control over California.
Sí, ahí es usted donde entra, gobernador Newsom. Usted tiene el control absoluto sobre California.
You can show Trump that you will do whatever it takes to protect your immigrant families and communities here. You can do that.
Puede demostrarle a Trump que hará lo que sea necesario para proteger a tus familias y a las comunidades inmigrantes aquí. Trump no tiene control aquí, pero tú sí.
Trump has no control over here. You do.
Trump no tiene control aquí. Usted sí.
Exercise your power to pardon your people. Your people, like me, who are at risk of deportation, and keep us safe here in California, with our families, with our communities.
Ejecute su poder para perdonar a las personas como yo que corren el riesgo de ser deportadas y mantenernos seguros aquí con nuestras familias y nuestra comunidad.
I don't want this Christmas to be the last holiday that I spend with my husband, with my granny, with my brother, with my dad, with my friends and family and my community.
No quiero que esta sea la última Navidad que pase con mi esposo, mi abuelita, mi papá y mi hermano, mis amigos y mi comunidad. Me diste una segunda oportunidad cuando no tomaste acción y me concediste la libertad condicional. Progresé y ayudé a mi comunidad.
You gave me a second chance when you did not take action and granted my parole. I thrived and I helped my community, and I still am.
Esa segunda oportunidad que me diste, no tomaste otra acción y me concediste esa libertad. Progresé, continúo ayudando a mi comunidad.
Now, more than ever, I'm asking you to do the same. Execute your power to pardon me, to pardon my fellow immigrants and other immigrants at risk, and keep us all here in California with our family and communities.
Ahora más que nunca, le pido que haga lo mismo y que ejerza su poder para perdonarme y a los demás inmigrantes en riesgo, y que nos mantengas a todos aquí con nuestras familias y nuestra comunidad.
Governor Newsom, pardon your people now.
Gobernador Newsom, perdone a su gente ahora.
Thank you so much. Damos muchas gracias a la compañera María por su corazón y sus palabras. And we want to just sing a song to her. We sing this song to each other, and we sing this song to our elected officials. Please sing with me.
Kobe, steady here. Yeah. Oh, much better.
La lucha seguirá. Allá, la lucha seguirá.
De norte a sur, de este a oeste, ganaremos esta lucha, cueste lo que cueste. De norte a sur,
cuéntenos bien. Somos millones, cuéntenos bien. Always like put that. Siempre, good to see you, my bro.
será vencido. El pueblo unido. El pueblo unido.
What is this? Oh, that's not. Oh, okay, cool. Right on. Terrific. With me? My number, my phone, cell phone is 415-595-1732. So, DRJB, JB, JS, at Gmail. Claro, como siempre. Turn out. Estamos en la lucha. 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 Estamos en la lucha.
Then you just show the top.
Right.
Guantanamera, gatito, no.
Arránquese.
Eso. Eso. Agárrate el bajo, gatito. ¡Que iban los inmigrantes! Este carro que ven aquí, este camión, le hemos llamado la tarima del pueblo. La gente que conoce este grupo de músicos se llaman los Jornaleros del Norte. Para la gente que no nos conoce, nos llamamos los Jornaleros del Norte y por más de 20 años hemos andado marchando en la banqueta con nuestros instrumentos acústicos, empujando el carrito, con las bocinas en el hombro. Siempre hemos marchado y hoy tenemos esta tarima que le hemos llamado la tarima del pueblo, para que cada vez que la vean en la lucha, la recuerden con cariño y afecto, y vamos a seguir marchando, enalteciendo a nuestra comunidad migrante. Esta es la tarima del pueblo, luchando junto con la gente. Los Jornaleros del Norte hemos escribido en los últimos meses muchos corridos. El 18 de diciembre vamos a lanzar Soy Inmigrante, en la voz de nuestra amiga Loida, que también es cantante de los Jornaleros del Norte. Hoy está en otra labor, por eso no está aquí con nosotros. Y vamos a estar lanzando muchos corridos, pero hoy les queremos cantar uno que apenas compartí con los compañeros. No lo hemos ensayado, se llama Le duela a quien le duela. Ni la hemos ensayado mucho, nomás se las presenté y les dije, quiero que me ayuden a cantar esta canción que se llama Le duela a quien le duela. Pónganle atención a la letra, éntrense con en primera, arranquemos en primera. Esta canción va dedicada a esos racistas que les duele nuestra presencia, porque le duela a quien le duela, somos el motor que mueve esta economía. Le duela a quien le duela, aquí mandamos. Nuestro trabajo habla y nuestras manos son el motor que mueve este aparato, aunque el racista me quiera llamar gato. Le duela a quien le duela, andamos firmes. El sudor en la frente nos define. El alma de un país que no nos ve, mas si nos sacan se mueren de hambre. Político tramposo, deja de echar mentiras. Tu discurso barato es pura hipocresía. Tus muros y barreras a mí no me interesa. Ponte a trabajar, deja de hablar tanta mierda. Que vive el inmigrante que sostiene esta tierra. Que vive el inmigrante que construye y cosecha. Se rige en 1000 oficios con talento y con fuerza. Entrega el corazón y a cambio le tiran piedras. Que vive el inmigrante, honora su trabajo, chambeando con amor en las ciudades y campos. Le miran con desprecio, no agacha la cabeza. Valiente sigue el paso con orgullo y con grandeza. Que vive el inmigrante, le duela a quien le duela. Político tramposo, deja de echar mentiras. Tu discurso barato es pura hipocresía. Tus muros y barreras a mí no me interesan. Ponte a trabajar, deja de hablar tanta mierda. Que vive el inmigrante que sostiene esta tierra. Que vive el inmigrante que construye y cosecha. Se rifa en 1000 oficios con talento y con fuerza. Entrega el corazón y a cambio le tiran piedras. Que vive el inmigrante, honora su trabajo, chambeando con amor en las ciudades y campos. Le miran con desprecio, no agacha la cabeza. Valiente sigue el paso con orgullo y con grandeza. Que vive el inmigrante, le duela a quien le duela. Pero cuando yo diga que vive el inmigrante, le duela a quien le duela. ¡Que vivan los inmigrantes! El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. 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 Santo los inmigrantes griten con toda su fuerza. ¡Que vivan los inmigrantes! ¡Que vivan las mujeres! ¡Que vivan los niños! ¡Que viva nuestra juventud! ¡Y que vivan nuestros viejitos y viejitas! Aquí estamos, aquí nos quedamos, no nos iremos. Resistir guerras fronterizas, dice aquí la compañera.
Thank you, everybody. Woo! Let's give them one more round of applause. So as we stand right here in front of the state capitol, we want our leaders to take action. We'll help protect our immigrant neighbors from racial profiling and abuses of power and promote safety for all Californians. Can we get a round of applause? So finally, we have two more speakers. We want to invite Carlos, a labor leader and school board member in Solano County. Carlos, please come up.
While Carlos gets up here, we just want to remind folks to please get on the sidewalk. Por favor, le queremos dar un recordatorio de que se pongan en las líneas de camino y que no estén en las calles si es posible, por favor. Please get out of the street and get on the sidewalk. Por favor, quítense de la calle. Gracias.
Buenas tardes, familia. ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Con energía? No, eso no es energía. ¿Dónde está la energía? Ya me tienen que oír, la energía. Aquí estoy, yo me llamo Carlos Flores, ese es mi hijo Adrián, el más joven de ellos. Ahorita voy a hablar un poco, lo voy a hacer en inglés y alguien va a venir aquí a recito a hablar en español. Like I said, my name is Carlos Flores, and I was a Tres Veces Mojados. Since then, I've also been a proud union member for over 20 years. Organized labor has long been a champion of immigrant dignity, going back to its early days of fighting for Italian, Irish, and other European immigrants who were the scapegoats of their time. And like then, today's immigrants came to this country, led by the clarion call of America to give me you're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We answered that call and have done our part to contribute to the prosperity of the U.S. We are teachers, we're nurses, engineers, we're also painters, laborers, and farm workers. We in organized labor see the value in each and one of those workers. If nothing else, these past few years have shown there are no low skill or unessential jobs. Every worker contributes to the greater good, and every worker is entitled to respect and dignity.
I'm going to do a volunteer job.
Every worker should feel free and confident, knowing they will go to work and come home after putting in an honest day's work. This is why we're asking Governor Newsom to ensure he does everything within his power to protect working families. We ask you, Governor Newsom, to use your pardoning powers to ensure our fellow Californians do not have to serve a de facto life sentence away from their families because of past mistakes that they've served time for already.
Flags.
Governor Newsom, do not allow our brothers and sisters to be judged by who they were. Rather, embrace and uplift the person they are today, contributors to a better California. We in organized labor also ask you, Governor Newsom, to ensure California remains a place of hope and inspiration for the nation. We ask that you and the legislature strengthen our current policies and make sure we do not build an infrastructure of division and separation. Instead, build structures that nourish and elevate our communities. Our members would much rather drive by a library, a park, or a school with our families and proudly point saying I worked on that, rather than driving by a detention center having to say the same thing. So we will continue to fight for working families, documented or otherwise. Unions have always been a shield against injustice, xenophobia, and racism. Wherever and whenever it rears up, familia, Count on members of organized labor to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. Gracias.
Give it up for Carlos. Un aplauso para Carlos. Ok, voy a presentar a Evelyn de MUA, Mujeres Unidas y Activas.
¿Cómo estamos? ¿Las calles son del pueblo? ¿El pueblo dónde está?
El pueblo está en la calle exigiendo libertad.
Buenos días, ya buenas tardes. Yo sé que madrugamos todos y gracias por las calles, ahorita están llenas para exigir que hoy estamos aquí en presencia exigiendo que nos traten con dignidad. Hoy estamos representando a más de 11 millones quienes este gobierno está tratando como basura, rateros, criminales. Una bulla, pues. Somos todo menos eso, como ellos nos están mencionando. Somos personas trabajadoras, personas que hacemos crecer este estado, este país, y nos tienen que reconocer. ¿Es así o no? Somos una minoría creciente, somos trabajadores, estamos transformando todo este país. Sin embargo, el miedo que nos causan al decir que van a haber deportaciones masivas, queremos que esto no sea así. Queremos que todo esto lo invierta en las familias, en las escuelas, en todo lo que realmente necesitamos como familias trabajadoras. Vamos hoy a levantarnos, a exigir que nos protejan, que vean nuestro valor. Estamos exigiendo que paren las deportaciones, que inviertan en salud y en programas para escuelas y en cuidar a las familias trabajadoras. ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? Nosotros aportamos a la economía y somos un núcleo importante para el progreso de esta nación. Queremos que nos reconozcan ya. Y es tiempo, Tere, que nos reconozcan y que nos den un camino a la ciudadanía. Queremos ya. Gracias, compañeros, y queremos seguir adelante. ¡Sí se puede! Como dijeron, santuario sí, deportaciones no. Seguimos adelante.
Un fuerte aplauso, un fuerte aplauso. Okay. Give it up for yourselves one more time. Give it up for yourselves. Una bulla para ustedes. Okay. Vamos a marchar para atrás a donde empezamos. We're going to march back to where we started. But we're going to go this way, right around the corner. The truck is going to go on its own. So there's going to be, the drummers are going to lead us again back to space 27. Los tambores nos van a volver a guiar al espacio 27 donde empezamos. Queremos recordarles que va a haber comida allá. We want to also remind you that there will be food over there where we first started. We want to say thank you to all of you for coming out and helping to represent the needs of our community. Gracias a todos ustedes por venir a ayudarnos a representar las necesidades de nuestras comunidades.
Again, thank you for